Hello class, in this video tutorial we are going to go over how to create your own hybrid animal using Photoshop. For the Photoshop Images of Week 05, you're tasked with creating a hybrid animal, combining two different animals of different species to create a new creation. For example, you can see here are different examples that I like to show. What I want to do is, if you need some additional help, I want to show you how I go about creating my own hybrid animal. First, what we need to do, you have to supply some images. And instead of just going to Google to search for images, this is a great opportunity for me to start talking about Creative Commons. If you're not familiar with Creative Commons, Creative Commons is a license on how you're able to share files over the internet. With the idea of Creative Commons is that people are creating work every day. So this is a good way of being able to share your work, but also kind of asking in return for credit. Depending on the license, you're able to share work for others to be able to use, to be able to either not to make money off of it, to make money off of it, to they could only share this image as is, being able to make repurpose it, which we want to do. So I want to go over being able how to find images within the creative license rights. So which I've already done. I already found some images, but I want to show you how I found them. So I just did a search for Creative Commons, and it just takes you to creativecommons.org. So you could always go here. So when you go right here, you are able to search their database. And so what if you wish to get some more information about Creative Commons, you can always go through here up at the very top to share your work, use and remix, what we do, and to get more information. But I went ahead and did a search for Creative Common images. And within here, you are able to search for something like, say, for example, uh, I'm going to go ahead and select. Earlier, I was trying to look for tigers. So uh, here are images of tigers, but there are different types of licenses that you're able to do. These are all, each one of them has like different uses. Like, say, for example, right here, if you click on this little question mark, this work has been marked as dedicated to the public domain. Uh, this is non-copyrighted work. This work uh, is marked as being in the public domain. Some of these, like say for example, where you see there's different little iconography telling you what each one does. You have to give credit to the licensor. So stuff that's public domain, you're able to use. So you don't have to have any credit whatsoever. But anything that has this little person, public domain. Like say for example, this one allows you to make credit to the creator, but you're also able to share your adaptations under the same terms. This one right here, for example, you can't use. You can only use it for non-commercial. The equal signs right here means that you cannot create any derivatives. So I don't want to use this one right here. But say for example, I either could select one of these two. So like for example, this one, the CCO, this work has been marked as dedicated to the public domain. These are kind of similar. This work is being marked is as being in the public domain. So I could say, give me an image that falls under this. All right, let's get rid of the S. I just want a tiger. So we get, oh, really weird images. Not what I was expecting. Let's go here. Okay, there it is. This is more like it. And then if we find an image that we'd like to use, what I want to point out is that, say for example, if we were going to use a tiger, I would want you to decide uh, for the image of the tiger that you find, do I want to use, say for example, I either want to use the head or the body. But also notice the angle. This tiger is more at a 3/4 angle, whereas this one's like completely in profile. If I was just going to use the tiger's head, I would want for the animal that I'm going to combine this tiger with, I would want them to be facing the same direction. I would want the other animal to be in profile. If I was using this one, I would want the other animal to be in this 3/4 view. So I want you to look at the different how the animal is facing, and make sure both of them are facing the same. You can see this one, the tiger is like looking, it's like a straight side shot. So I want the other animal to be in a straight side shot. It would, like, say for example, looking at these images right here, this tiger is at profile or looking straight down, head on. This one's on the side. I would not want to cut this tiger's head and put it on this tiger's body right here in Photoshop, because it wouldn't look right. So keep that in mind. But once you select an image, let's click on this one right here, for example. It does give you this information right here, where you could credit the creator. You could go to the image website, where if we click on this, it's going to take us to Flickr. And then oftentimes in Flickr on the bottom right hand corner, you're able to download an image, but check this one out. We could download an extra large image, a really large resolution one. Now we could use this one, but I already did some searches. I decided that I was going to use a pigeon, so I like this pigeon right here. And also I wanted to do something fun. What if we put this Chihuahua, his head, on this pigeon's body? And I have the site right here, so I'm going to go ahead and click on the download. Let's go ahead and download the original, the large file. This is going into my downloads directory, and then this Chihuahua. Oh yeah, also I want to give 01 some credit right here. You could follow this person on Flickr if you want to look more of their work. And then let's go to this Chihuahua. The user is Gene G, also on Flickr. So I want to make sure that I give those people their rights. So I want to credit them for taking these photos. Thank you for taking these photos and allow us to use them. And check this one out, the original file. This is a large resolution. Let's go ahead and download this one. It's going to give us more information. Great, I have both of these images. And let's go ahead and open them up in Photoshop. So I'm going to go ahead and just drag and drop them. You can't see this on my side screen, but I'm going to go ahead and open up one in Photoshop and then open up the next one in Photoshop as well. So here I have the two images that we're going to be using. What I'm going to do, since this one is already a pretty large resolution, this one's not a lot larger, so I'm going to work on this one. I want to go ahead and select the area around the head and then some part of the body down here. So I'm going to go ahead and double click on this layer, the background image, to convert this to a regular layer. Let's go ahead and spell Chihuahua. Chihuahua. Okay. And let's use some of the tools that we used previously. I'm going to go ahead and use some of our, let's try this object selection. Let's see how well it does. I'm going to go ahead and click right here. And look at that. This does a really great job. If I want to further work the file, we could always do that, the selection. But I'm going to go ahead and just apply this as a layer mask. So we have something that looks like this. If we want to refine it some more, I could always double click my layer mask, click, click. So I get something that looks like this. I'm going to use the refine brush tool. I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to make this just large enough. Let's see if I go around the edges right here. I'm just going to go around the Chihuahua's edge. And we'll see how well Photoshop does with this image. I kind of lucked out that it was able to find that edge really fast. Now I don't care about this edge right here because I'm probably gonna clear that area off. I want more information here. So let's check out what it looks like for the black and white. Check that out. Looks really good. So I'm going to go back on black. This is on white. Here I'm going to fix this area right here. Because what I'm going to do, I'm going to want to kind of fade this area out, but I still want the information there just in case if I need it. So I'm going to go back to on black. I'm going to tell it OK. So I have this nice selection here. Now I want to send this dog, this layer, to this file here. And to do so, I'm going to go ahead and right mouse click over here on the right hand side. I'm going to tell it to duplicate layer. For the destination, it's like I should rename this file. It's this one, 286.583, etc., etc. I'm going to tell it OK. And now when I go here, we have this giant Chihuahua head. Because this resolution is so much more larger, I'm going to go ahead and now, with this layer selected, we still have our layer mask. I'm going to switch to my move tool. I do want my show transform controls to be checked on because this allows me to move this file. What I want to do is I'm going to drop the opacity for this file here because I want to be able to see through it, and not so much. I'm going to have to zoom out. I'm going to scale this down because I want to kind of put this head somewhere along this area here. Let's start to zoom in. Let's see. I'm going to try my best to hide the pigeon's head. Here, let's go something. Let's make his head really large because Chihuahuas do have a large head. So we'll do something like this. We're going to go ahead and click and drag. There you go. I need to apply this. I'm going to click on this little check mark, or you can press enter or return on your keyboard. Let me go ahead and bring up my opacity. So we have the head right here, but what I want to do now, I want to blur this in right here, this area in. So I still have my layer mask. What I could do, instead of using the eraser tool, let's just paint our layer mask. I'm going to use, I want to change my colors to default, black and white. White reveals, black conceals, so I want to use black. I'm going to use a paintbrush. I want to change my brush. Let's go back to the general brushes. I'm using a mouse, so I don't have a pressure sensitivity. So I'm going to just select a round, soft round. And what I want, you see this brush, it's too small. I want to make it larger. I can always go up here and just change the size, or I want to remind you that the square brackets, the two keys to the right of the letter P, I could always use those to make a larger brush. And because what I want to do is I want to start to just, it looks like I'm erasing. I'm not necessarily erasing this edge, but what I'm doing is I'm changing my layer mask. So see, I could see right here, I'm zooming in, his neck is starting to go away. So, you know what I could do? I could probably, if I make this smaller, hiding some of that edge. I like this area right here where you could see some of the, like the neck of the pigeon. Here, let's hide this. I want to see some of that through. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to drop the opacity for my brush. I haven't talked about this, but by dropping my opacity, I'm able to slowly kind of reveal how strong the stroke is. So, you know, I'm just kind of erasing some of it. Now, I don't want to erase too much because if I do, I start to reveal more of the actual pigeon. But the good thing is that since we have, here, let me go ahead and disable this layer mask. We still have all the information there. I'm going to go ahead and re-enable it by right mouse clicking on it and say, oh no, concealed too much. I'm going to go ahead and switch this around. I'm going to bring back my opacity to 100%. Let me make my brush smaller. 100% means that my stroke is going to be really thick for that color, for that white. So you can see is like if I go around bringing more of the Chihuahua, but there's too much right here. So I don't want to bring them too much. So I'm going to switch it back to black. And I'm going to make this larger. So I definitely don't want that part. But I like this blending that's going on right here. I'm going to drop the opacity down again so that I could see some of the fur. Let's zoom out. So now we have let's see, a Chihuahua and Pigeon. Chihuahuan, or is it Pidgewawa? So right here, what I would do, if I'm done with this, I could always leave it as is. What I could always do if I want to change the color if necessary, if I want to get it a little bit more brownish tone right here, I could always, just with this layer selected, in this case I could always go into my layer image adjustment, and maybe I want to adjust maybe the hue and saturation. So I could just leave it as master and see what happens if I just move everything around. Let's say I don't necessarily want to move everything, but let's see if I want to use, let's see if I go to the reds, if I want these to be darker, let's move that darker. I want them to be kind of like browns, more brownish in tone. You can see the before and after. It's really subtle. Let's see. What about the yellows? Do the yellows do anything? Yeah, maybe I want these to be darker as well. So I'm trying to get a brown. The greens don't do much. What about cyans? Okay, so here for the cyan, that's the color, the reflection on his coat. Maybe I want to make these darker as well. So here, let's bring this down. Let's see, what about the blues? Sure, let's do the blues as well. Magentas. I'll leave that as is. So I can apply that. So I'm just trying to make it a little bit more earthy. So we have something like that. I kind of desaturated the color. But I could always apply different adjustments if I want to as well. I could always try to just do a different color balance as well. So say for example here I want to, for the darks, for the shadows, I definitely want it to be more brown. Change the midtones. So I like this, but I want it to be lighter. It's like it's too saturated. So maybe I'll do that. Where, ooh, I'm liking this right here. Trying to blend those colors in. I'll say Let's go ahead and check out the highlights as well. Make those a little bit lighter. There you go. But then what I maybe want to do is go back to mode, adjustments, maybe the vibrance. I'm going to drop the vibrance for this one. This is vibrance. Or maybe the saturation. Let's drop the saturation. Let's see, before. Very subtle. Let's put the... This is what the vibrance does. Makes it too bright. I'm going to drop this down. Sorry, that's a saturation. This is increasing it. I'm going to drop this down. Okay, this is already getting, we're 20 minutes here. So I'm going to go ahead and just leave it like this. I'm going to tell it okay. I would go ahead and save my file if I want to keep it, but I definitely want to save out a file. This image under image size, it's pretty large. I might decide that, you know what, let me go ahead and resize this the width maybe 900 pixels because we're going to be uploading it onto the internet. And then I have this right here, and now what I want to do is this is at 100%. I'm going to go ahead and file save as. I'm going to save this to my computer, and maybe on my folder, let me go ahead and say art 100. This is, I'm going to create myself a folder, week 10. I'm going to go ahead and rename this. I tell this my hybrid animal. I'm going to save it as a Photoshop. Okay. But then I also want to save this out as a PNG or JPEG file. So if I go to, this time I'll select PNG. Notice it's going to have to be saved as a copy because PNG does not save layers. I'm going to go ahead, that's going to be fine. I'm going to tell it save. I'm going to tell it OK. And now on my computer, I have my file that is going to be ready for submission. I want to open up my folder just to show you my file that I have. So here is my PNG file that is ready for submission. So hopefully you found this useful. If you have any questions, go ahead and let me know. Otherwise, have fun. Go ahead and create your own hybrid animal, and I look forward to see what you create. Okay.